Oh, let's do it. Oh, let's do it. Hey, I influence. One shot, man down. His brain go kapow. UFC Atlanta was a long and exciting night, and Kamaru Usman is 100% back from sabbatical. Hello, Rose Namajunas has found herself in the flyweight division. None of the three Codys managed to get a win. Not a single submission. We had a lot of weird moments. It was a strange night, but we had a lot of highlights. Let's go over it, give it a dynamic breakdown, no contests, accidental head clashes, up kicks, and all. First fight, we had a women's flyweight with Jamie Lynn Horth going against Vanessa Demopoulos, who was coming in short notice, and she was coming in scrappy. You know, Vanessa, she was trying her best, but the size difference was real. She was moving up a weight class, and it was pretty evident. It was evident she was looking a lot smaller, and she just really couldn't deal with the space, and unfortunately was unable to close that distance. And Jamie did a really good job keeping the space to get that unanimous decision win, 30-27 all around. Got to give props to Vanessa for coming in short notice to save a fight, and got to give props to Jamie Lynn for breaking her own personal record in significant strikes. Then we had a welterweight bout between Phil Rowe and Loosa. Both of these guys were coming in with a long year layoff. This was a really exciting fight, and it's one of the fights of the night that had a lot of table turning. Started off with Anj being really good at his thing, closing the distance and trying to make it a smother fest, but Phil was not having it, and those tables turned. They turned a couple times, and round 1 and 2 looked like Loosa's round because he was just controlling most of the way. So when it came round 3, Phil, it was kind of clear he had to have that do or die mentality, and that's exactly what he put on. You could see he knew he had to get it done, and he turned it into a slugfest. And when those punches got through, it was all system shut down, and he was able to get the TKO win in round 3. Phil had to deal with being taken down every single round, and so in those final moments, it was definitely a finish or nothing, and he got it done. So it was very, very exciting, great urgency, great win on Phil's part to make it happen before it's too late. And that is so far Phil's style. All of his wins are from finishes, so he gets it done. You know, it might come a little bit later in the fight, but he's gonna get it done. Then we had a bantamweight fight, Ricky Simone versus Cameron Smotherman. It was supposed to be Ricky Simone versus Charles Jourdain. A little bit of a last minute switcheroo. Ricky really went in there and he totally did his thing. He's all about control, all about the wrestling. You know, he's got a win over Merab. He's got a similar game plan to Merab as well, going in there, just absolute smother. He was smothering Smotherman. Smotherman was getting smothered. Smotherman kind of got smothered. Not all the way though, because he didn't get submitted. But it was a pretty strong unanimous decision win for Ricky Simone, and he is looking really good, really fresh. He's climbing his way to the top. We had a few boxing exchanges in that fight, not really, but even during those moments, it was hard for Cameron Smotherman to find his rhythm. So then we had our first Cody of the night, Cody Durden representing Atlanta, going against Jose Ochoa. Jose coming in with the 100% finish rate that he did maintain in this fight. The first round was really, really exciting. Ochoa on that goofy foot type stuff, controlling the striking, and Cody is looking for the takedown, trying to get him up against the fence, but Ochoa was just really crisp with that striking, really crisp with getting that volume in there too, getting a lot of volume. Cody does clip him with a power shot though at the end, so it feels like a really exciting round. You kind of don't know where the fight could go, but round 2 barely even starts, okay, and bam, 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 slam. Well, not bam, bam, slam, but bam, bam, uppercut, and Cody is all system shut down. So we get a system shutdown TKO round 2 for Jose Ochoa, keeping that 100% finish rate. He's so young, only 24 years old, really on his way, looking really great. It was such a sneaky little uppercut too, but with that full power. Oh man, hit clean on the chin. What can you do? Really exciting up until then, but unfortunately our first Cody. So we're 0-1 at that point for the Codys. Then we had a bantamweight bout between Malcolm Wamaker and Chris Matinho. This one was booked pretty short notice. It was kind of upon Malcolm's request. He's also a Georgia native and he wanted to fight on this card. Bit of a quick turnaround, but they made it happen. And Chris making his UFC return. Malcolm just had quit his full-time job as a tradesman to pursue fighting full-time. Oh, let's do it. Oh, let's do it. Okay, so there was a lot of stakes for both guys. So it took Sean O'Malley 3 rounds to get Chris out of there. Like, Chris is a really, really tough guy, very, very durable, and he looked like an absolute zombie by the time it had got to that point. Malcolm Wamaker, lots of power in those hands. It was also just a perfectly timed hook with a little bit of a setup there, and it was a system shutdown. Yeah. We had another system shutdown. That was a KO, okay? So round 1 KO for Malcolm Wellmaker, looking really, really fresh, ready to get right back in there. Oh, let's do it. The machine stays undefeated. The other machine. There's 2 bantamweight machines. Uh-oh. What are we going to do with that? Then we had a battle of the tough champions, Michael Chiesea going against Court McGee. They look related, like brothers, perhaps. Something in the eyes. It's the way they're looking at me. Well, this fight was a little bit of a slowie. A little bit of a slowie. You know, Chiesea did a little bit more in there, but it was a very awkward decision. Just like slightly ahead on the significant strikes. Both guys who are so wrestling heavy, I mean, they both coach wrestling, but the wrestling was canceled. And that happens sometimes, right? Sometimes if you got 2 people that got the same specialty, they'll both simultaneously throw it out the window. Well, just not use it. Well, just couldn't find the opening. It wasn't happening. That fight wasn't happening. The crowd was testy. They hated it. Some rounds, you know, when you're a casual viewer, it's pretty easy to score, right? Just watch. But this fight was weird. This was not easy. The round 1, I was like, yeah, this is how you know when you don't know. So Michael Chiesea gets the unanimous decision win. A little bit lackluster, little bit awkward. Not super exciting, but that's all right because, you know, nothing's worse than what happened next. Then we had our featured prelim, which was already canceled once before. Okay, it was already canceled once. At this point, it's cursed. At this point, don't rebook it. All right, because I don't want to know what's going to happen the 3rd time they try. It was supposed to be a light heavyweight fight between Paul Craig and Rodolfo Bellato. In round 1, you know, it was looking good. It was looking very Paul. It was looking like, you know, he was finding his moment to get in there. This is a feature prelim because both guys are finishers. I mean, it's the only way Paul knows how to live his life, right? It's the only route towards victory that he's seen. But anyway, final seconds of round 1. We get an illegal up kick. You know, Bellato's not standing. And it seems as though at first he's like, okay. And he, you know, is like makes eye contact like with the ref, like in an alive way. But then he goes crisis mode. And he's you know, he's falling back. And he's you know, looking around like where am I? And everybody's thinking, what? It just looked very weird because it was like, I never seen anything like that in my life. Because like it looks like one of those scenarios where like the fighter is like knocked out and then they like wake up but they still think they're in the fight. That's why I say crisis mode. Okay? But then some people, Anthony Smith included, are very firm that it was like we were on some WWE type, okay? And it was all for the show. But that's just hard for me to believe that Rodolfo would like fake being knocked out because I just feel like he wants to fight. Like, I feel like they both want to fight. I mean, it was just so weird because it looked like he was still awake and then he went to sleep like he got kicked, was awake, and then went to sleep. But the body is weird. Like maybe he was on a delay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And we all didn't know. Everyone was kind of stunned. So that one was a no contest. We had a no contest for our featured prelim. Wow. Don't rebook that. I mean, superstitiously. Then we had our main card, which was starting off with another light heavyweight match between Alonzo Menifield against Omar Sy. And that one was another kind of little bit of a stinker. I think the crowd was thinking, man, this fight smells. Sy is a really, really long guy. He's got the longest reach of any active light heavyweight. Alonzo is not exactly tall, but he's usually looks fairly large in there, and he looked pretty small. He was kind of struggling to break that distance, really like head hunting and hunting for the finish, and it wasn't working out for Alonzo in that regard. And once we do get against the fence and it slows down a little bit, crowds get, boo, boo. We had a lot of boo-boo during Atlanta. Much boo. But yeah, this one was kind of a slow, unanimous decision for Alonzo Menifield, who was just hunting for the finish, but not peppering in a lot of strikes, it seemed like, from the outside, it seemed like. Yeah, crowd was thinking this fight stinks. It didn't really stick in my memory either. I just kind of remember being against the fence. And I don't have a lot to say. Okay, then we had what I suspected was going to be the quirkiest fight of the night, and it is. And it was. And I was right. But I don't like the way it was. Okay. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Cody Brundage. Cody, second Cody of the night. All right, but spoiler alert, it ended with 0-2, so with the Codys. So, but it was definitely the quirkiest fight of the night. Mansour was coming in undefeated, never having seen a decision as well. Round one, they were definitely both getting their education. Okay, not stepping into the fire. We had a little bit of a flying knee at the end by Mansour, but it's nothing, yeah, but they were like beep, boop, bop, beep, kind of like really locked in, studying each other, you could see. The computers were firing on both ends, getting their education. And round two, both fighters seemed to be abandoning their wrestling background as well in favor of keeping it on the feet, keeping it in the striking. And Cody gets a little busted behind the ear. He starts bleeding behind the ear. That's a weird one. Neither guy is getting too close to each other. Still not getting into the fire zone, but keeping it on the feet. No wrestling. And then we get to round three, and it's like, wait, wow, holy, what, wow, okay. Caution was thrown to the wind. We're striking like crazy. Things are happening. It's going all over the place. And one of the things that's going all over the place are their little noggins, and we get a clash of heads. Oh, no. You definitely don't see it at real speed. So when you're watching it, it just looks like in the flurry of punches, something catches Cody and like he falls and it causes him to cover up. And in covering up, Mansour's coming down on him and the ref's like, all right, get off. But when you slow it down, you can see the clash. You can see the clash of heads and owie, owie, ow, ow. One shot, man down, his brain go kapow. But in this case, the shot was like a head, like two heads. So accidental clash of heads. So what they decided is that whoever was winning up until that point was going to get the win, right? So tallying up the scorecards up until that moment, we did make it to 3 rounds. So yes, due to accidental headbutt, Brundage could not continue, and the fight was scored in favor on all 3 judges' scorecards for Abdul Malik, 30-27 and 29-28. So it was the quirkiest fight of the night. I guess the last one too. But this one actually kind of happened more. Anyway. Let me know. What do you think's quirkier? No contest, fake being knocked out, or accidental clash of heads to tallying the scorecards for up until then? I guess they're both weird. Just unfortunate because that 3rd round had so much potential. What is with Cody Brundage though? He cannot not have a crazy fight. Like in a good and bad way, crazy just finds him. So Mansoor apologizes for the headbutt, but like, come on, you don't need to apologize. It was very clearly an accident. Then we had our third Cody. Bantamweight fight between Cody Garbrandt and Raoni Barcelos. We get to see the Cody No Love, which we missed, right? He gets a little rushy in the first round right away, and he's already given his antics like he does. And he does manage to hit Barcelos with a power shot, but Barcelos survives. It's all good. Recovery. Make it through that round with a little bit of antics. Round 2, you can't have a UFC event without some technical difficulties, am I right? What is this? Okay, both guys were definitely looking to pressure, but Barcelos also really looking for the takedown, but Cody really resistant. Both round 1 and round 2, Cody was very takedown resistant, but it's definitely more on his back foot in the second round. You could see him. But it looked like round 1, neither guy was leading the dance. Then it looked like Barcelos was leading it. By round 2, Cody was trying to lure him in, but it wasn't really working. Barcelos was like, no thank you, and he knocks Cody off balance with a kick. Cody tries to shoot. We find ourselves with Barcelos on his back. Uh-oh. But Cody did do a great job getting back up, actually. Popping right back up, not letting us stay there for too long, glancing at the clock. We got 45 seconds to go. He's trying to, get Barcelos. Come here. He's not going to be doing any of that. They go to the distance. Barcelos did more in there, and that's, he's definitely really happy to get the unanimous decision win because he called this fight out. He wanted this fight. He's been wanting to fight Garbrandt for a while. Now he's on a 3-fight win streak. He wants Rob Font next. So that was very good. That was a great performance. Super high output. Very exciting. Then we had a middleweight matchup between Andre Petroski and Edmund Shahbazyan. Andre and Ricky both dyed their hair platinum blonde. We have 2 platinum blondes. Blondes got to stick together. Okay. Andre is definitely really heavy on the wrestling. Edmund has got plenty of wrestling skills, but he is a powerful puncher. He is definitely striking is where he really, really shines. Round 1, they were keeping the striking at kick range, not a lot happening. Petroski trying to shoot, but it's not working. Shahbazyan being very, very careful, fighting his fight and not letting Andre get him. Okay, he was looking clearly like the better striker and not letting Andre get his game plan of touching it up, getting close, coming in for a hug. You could see even more so in round 2 that Edmund really knew what Andre was up to. He could just see, what plans he was trying to set up. And at one point, goofy footer Andre tried to switch it up to being right-footed, and Edmund immediately pounced on that as well. So he could really feel him out. He was feeling him out very, very well, seeing it, and there was no wrestling threat at all. Another timeout because another clash of heads. Oh no, but this one's okay. We recover. We get back into it. Edmund is able to land several nasty combos throughout this fight. And in round 3, we see the story of the fight, which is he sets up a combo. Andre goes for the takedown and is pushed aside very immediately. And at this point, we get a really weird stat that I have actually never seen before. Average time to escape. Maybe I just am not always paying attention, but I don't think I've ever seen that. Like his time to escape the takedown. And 3 seconds. So Andre could not get a hold of Edmund. He simply could not. That was kind of a funny, yeah. Arcanine was really showing his experience in there. He looked like the better fighter all around. The striking was just really, he was really crisp. He was able to set it up. It wasn't a very bloody, gory, flashy kind of fight, but Edmund really put on a very, very good performance to get that unanimous decision win and did not let Andre have his game plan by any means. Then we had the co-main event, Rowe Namajunas, legend, going against rising star Miranda Maverick. Round 1, very, very exciting. Looked like Rose was leading the dance in the first half, but Miranda lands big, okay? But of course, Rose is super durable, so she takes it. But after landing that big shot, it looked like Miranda was catching up then in the strikes for the second half of the round. It was all on the feet. Super, super exciting. Round 2, we get a really great start with the striking as well. And Rose times the takedown about 2 minutes in. It's looking really good. Top position, into half guard. And we pop up because Miranda is super explosive, and we pop back down again. Rose is backpacking on the ground, showing how sticky that she can really be. There's a minute to go. Rose is looking to sink in that choke. Miranda bucks her off and goes for her own submission. Okay, this is crazy. Like, it was complete. That was a table turner. That was so exciting. Miranda almost got Rose in that second round too. Like, wow, that was crazy, but Rose is tough. That was the old switcheroo. Round 2 was a switcheroo. Round 3, Miranda is very quick to go through another takedown. We get back, into the middle though, to a striking exchange. Once we're back in the middle, Miranda does get dropped. Rose does have power, okay? She's got a lot of knockdowns, and it was a hook right on the temple. It's one of those you had to slow it down to see. Rose finds herself in top position, but Miranda is so strong, okay? She can buck her off, the old switcheroo, the old scramble eggs, but we scramble the eggs again, and Rose is on top, and we end that round with Miranda looking labored to get up, okay? Ended with Rose on top. Looks like Miranda hurt her knee. But it was a very, very strong unanimous decision win for Rose Namajunas. Very, very exciting. Miranda definitely pushed. But Rose was able to make it happen in there. Okay? She was able to make it happen. Control. Do more. That was awesome. Miranda wasn't quite able to smother her the way that she wanted to. Back to training partners. Back to being pals. What's next for Rose Namajunas? Her 5th fight at 125. Lots of exciting matchups. I think it'd be really cool to see her against Alexa Grasso. Let me know what you think. Then we had our main event, much anticipated welterweight matchup between Kamaru Usman and Joaquin Buckley. And Kamaru Usman, old guard versus new guard Joaquin Buckley, and he held that line. Oh, he did. No touch of gloves. That was a little bit of drama. You know Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is a lot of drama. He definitely is. We love that about him. Kamaru doing his thing, though, and just doing his thing. And you know what I mean. He's got 2 things. 1, major knockout power, and 2, absolute suffocation potential, because his wrestling is so elite, and he put on a beautiful performance. For 4 full rounds, he was completely smothering Joaquin Buckley. He was on top of him, landing some really active ground and pound strikes. Okay, not a boring... The thing about Kamaru Usman is he's a wet blanket. But he's an exciting wet blanket. That's the most exciting wet blanket I've ever seen. And it's also the wettest blanket in the welterweight division, I would say. Wettest blanket of all welterweights. Yeah, he really laid on him, and he laid it on thick with the strikes as well. And Joaquin didn't have answers. He did not have answers for Kamaru Usman for that entire fight. It wasn't until the last round that Joaquin really... a little bit of a fire lit in him, and he refused the takedown. So it looked like he was just getting kind of like bulldogged down, muscled down to the ground. But by that 5th round, he was pushing back a little bit. So, we wish we saw that in the earlier rounds, but he's got a lot of future ahead of him, back to the drawing board. Joaquin is definitely able to make adjustments, though. We did see that by that last round, but all in all, that being said, it was like a shark swimming in the water and someone who was swimming to get away. That's what it looked like. Kamaru Usman being the shark, of course. Yeah, so old guard stands tough for both our co-main and our main event. Kamaru Usman wants a shot at the belt. Whoever wins between Islam and JDM, I think that would be very appropriate. What about you? Kamaru Usman is back from sabbatical. It was a crazy night. Crazy because there was a lot of weird stuff. Really, really long night. Went quite late. Lots of fights. Many decisions. Got to give a big shout out to Malcolm Wamaker for such a outstanding knockout win. Oh, let's do it. And because of that, of course, our song of the night is, of course, Oh, let's do it. Yeah. Let me know what your favorite fight of the night was. I think mine has to be the co-main event, and I'm really excited to see Rose working her way to the top. And it was just really exciting to see Kamaru Usman back from sabbatical. Love to have him back. The haters, get out of here. Anybody who thought Kamaru Usman was done, think again, right? That's it. Oh, let's do it. Oh, let's do it. I influence. You look really scary.